Morning, DJ. What are you listening to?
Nothing. Just a new song. Nothing really. What's up?
Just want to find out. It's a big day. What's coming up on the show?
It is a big day. It's Gold Cup Day. And can Gallop in the Shams do the hat-trick? We've got Daryl Jacob back on the couch. We've got Martin Dixon. We have got our very own Graeme Rodway. And we've got Tom Nugent from Paddy Power. It's a big day. And this is Good Morning Cheltenham. Yes, I promise that'll be the last mention of Caldwell Potter. Welcome along to the last hurrah. This is Gold Cup Day and this is Good Morning Cheltenham. And joining myself, David Jennings, on the couches this morning. We have Daryl Jacob, Martin Dixon, Graeme Rodway and Tom Nugent from Paddy Power. It's Gold Cup Day. It's the big one. It's the biggest day of the year. And Graeme Rodway, it is one we're really looking forward to. But before we get stuck into the action, how was yesterday for you? And not just yesterday, Graeme Rodway, because we have to go all the way back to Tuesday, when you made this outrageous claim that Constitution Hill or Brighter Days Ahead wouldn't finish in the first two. You were spectacularly proved right, and you almost got the forecast.
Yeah, well, if you'd seen me after the race, I was head on hands, obviously, because I was strong on stake, man. But essentially, I was right, but still wrong, wasn't I? And that's always a problem, isn't it? It's great being right, but then I still lost. Just like you did on Brighter Days Ahead or whatever it was you was on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've brought that good form. I know you didn't collect on Tuesday, but you've carried that good form throughout the week. And we were just chatting before the show you the Beano yesterday.
Oh, yeah, and so did you.
I did have a Beano, but we're not allowed to mention the
on the
CP
same
word.
Horses, Caldwell Potter and Bob Ollinger. Yeah, for some reason, I just came round to the idea in the morning that Bob Ollinger was the biggest certainty to ever line up in that race. And he was.
Good that you mentioned that this morning rather than yesterday morning.
I did tip him yesterday on Price Wise Extra for all of our subscribers, so hopefully they were on.
Very well done. And Daryl Jacob, what a ride it was from Rachel. She does ride this place really well.
Yeah, she was very good on him yesterday. I thought she rode two exceptional races yesterday, and just to ride him with supreme confidence the way she had just dropped him in. She was down at the start. We were down there and she was letting everyone just get hustling, bustling and fighting for their positions there, and she always had her horse out the back. Nice, cool, calm, collective ride. It was a brilliant ride. Rachel Blackmore at her very, very best. And Bob Ollinger was brilliant, but I think the star of the show yesterday was most certainly Factifile. It was just glorious to watch Martin Dixon. It was like a top horse doing what he does best, and I think we all knew that performance was probably in him.
Yeah.
And he produced it on the big day.
Yeah, I mean, he just got a perfect setup, didn't he, as well? He turned in behind the leaders. They went a good gallop. He relaxed a lot better than he has done over 3 miles. And you kind of knew after 3 or 4 fences, a bit like you did with Caldwell Potter, to be honest, the rhythm that he was in as well. But you knew that he was going to take a lot of stopping. The rhythm that he'd got into, Ile France had been taken on for the lead early, couldn't get there, had to rush forward. It just didn't go perfectly for him at any stage of the race. But he was brilliant, Factifile. I mean, that was the performance of the week, I think. If you're looking at a ratings perspective and looking at the best performance that we've had of the week so far, it has to be that. And he was still pricking his ears on the running as well. The
one annoying thing about it is he probably should have been running today at 4 o'clock.
Well, look, we can say that, but he is still only a second season chaser. And if they're going to get the very best out of him as a staying horse, he needs to learn to race, learn to relax a little bit better than he had done in his races at Leopardstown. So, yeah, I think they made the right call. And ultimately, the Ryanair is, when you see a performance of that calibre in the Ryanair, it's like when we saw Allaher do it. I still think it was the right race this year for him. Yeah. I wouldn't be whereas I'd knock the Mare's Hurdle, I wouldn't be a Ryanair chase knocker personally. I've seen some brilliant performances in that race, and I think it's a great race to watch.
And of course, Ile France did what exactly everybody on the couch told me Ile France would do, and unfortunately he stopped very quickly before he turned for home. Factifile, Tom, was, I suppose, one for the punters yesterday, but in general, I'd say Paddy Power are quite happy with how the week is going.
I know for sure. I think it's very much been a bookmaker's week. It's funny, chatting to a few of the lads laying on the rails, they're having a mix and match week. They're getting caught by a couple of shrewd faces, but the corporate firms are definitely getting it all their own way.
Would you say this is a shrewd face, yeah?
Well, I don't know, yeah. I thought when you were saying Caldwell Potter on Monday, I said definitely not, but now I'm starting to think...
Yeah, just for people...
I don't know, we should be bowing down to you after yesterday's performance, should we? Should we knight you or something like that this morning, should we?
Just for people who didn't watch Monday's yesterday's show, Tom Nugent absolutely ridiculed my lucky 15, which included Hayley Colours and included Caldwell Potter. So I'm still waiting for the apology.
I know, I take it all back. Let the record show that I'm very, very sorry, in the words of Father Jack.
Yeah, and you look like you meant it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a shout out to Mark Walsh. Daryl, I thought it was a real kind of chest out, ballsy ride from Mark. You know, he never was too far away from LA Francais. He set that target. He never took him out of his rhythm. And it was a big day for Mark. It was a big ride on a big day, and he nailed it.
We seen some great rides yesterday. Rachel Blackmore, obviously. Mark Walsh was very cool on him yesterday. I thought the way the race was shaped, like we spoke about yesterday, they were going to go hard. But what he never done, he never let James Reevely get too far in front of him. And even when Danny Mullins on Henry de Bromhead's horse was jumping slightly out to his right, Mark Walsh halfway down the back straight, took him on the inside him, got in around him, and then ended up pushing Danny in against the rail. And then Protectorate had to come back to come around again. So Mark, not only did he ride his own horse very, very well, but he sort of controlled the race around him as well, and always having James Reevely in his sight. And like you say, he when James was trying to come back to give his horse a breather coming down the hill, Mark then pushed forward on him again to not allow James Reevely to get that extra bit of oxygen in the tank that he needed. It was a very good ride, and I thought John O'Neill Jr. was absolutely superb. It was a proper AP McCoy ride, the way that, because at Jaguar I thought he jumped like a camel. I don't know whether I should say that or not, but I thought you
can say anything in this show.
I generally thought he was like the last. I think in the last 6 fences he jumped one fence right, even down over the last. Just a big awkward,
clambered over it.
Yeah, clumsy thing. Do you know what I mean?
He's
and
huge, isn't
he's a big horse, so it's look, he is a novice and he will get. Well,
I don't know that he will.
Well, yeah, but he's
still won 4 times this
season.
Yeah,
he's got a huge engine, but generally I thought it took every bit of John O'Neill Jr.'s skill to get him up yesterday. Honestly, I thought he was superb on him.
Those were some of the really good performances yesterday. Unfortunately, one performance that didn't really live up to expectations was the performance of the starter. The starts have been hampering the whole week, putting a bit of a stench over the Cheltenham Festival. Michael O'Leary had a shout out in the Racing Post today saying it was an absolute nonsense. Daryl, you were a jockey, you were in the heat of battle, you know what it's like down there at the start. Who is actually at fault here?
Look, both of them are at fault, really. I mean, I do generally believe a bit of common sense could come into it as well. But, like, the jockeys, they know the rules. They have to, over in England, they have to be at a walk or a little bit of a jig jog. But some of the starts, it isn't easy because you're on the bend, like the Pertams, the Stayers, big runner fields. The horses on the outside are obviously at a disadvantage in the Pertams because they're going around the bend. So them horses, if they keep stuff, they have to be a little bit more forward or else they're going to get left 3 lengths at the start. So from a jockey's point of view, if you're out wide, you have to be going that slightly bit faster than what the horses are going down the inside because you're going to miss the break. But then some of the races, when they're 2 furlongs or a furlong and a half away from the actual start position, and then they're coming forward. Look, they're big field handicaps with horses that are absolutely primed for the minute. Jockeys are primed. They want to get the right start. They have to get off because you can very, very easily lose a race at the start. So the jockeys are under an awful lot of pressure too to make sure they get in the right position at the right time.
And Martin, the one thing I want to say to you is the starter's almost using the rules as though every race is a 6-runner race, okay? So you have 22 jockeys trying to get maybe 3 or 4 positions. So it's not going to be perfection. So maybe sometimes the starters look at them and going, okay, they're not playing by the rules, but you know what? We're not going to get them any better than that, so let's go.
Well, that's what it's felt like this week, numerous times, in that they've been coming forward, and actually you look at it visually and you think, there's nothing wrong with that.
And nobody will say anything if they let them go.
There's nothing wrong with that. Let them go, almost shouting at the TV sometimes this week. And it hasn't happened, has it? But when you're down there, Daryl, is there someone telling you, this is your last turn, come forward, we're on race time? Or...
Yeah, you have the assistant starter down there, and he's obviously he's a bit further behind with us. So you got your starter up in the rostrum, your assistant starter, and he's down there and he's telling us, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, and basically telling us.
Because it felt like this week sometimes they're coming in too early. Like there's, as in 30, 40 seconds before post time, and they're already
from Winchcombe. Yeah. It's like they're back in Winchcombe, and then they're having to run 3 miles to get to the start.
Yeah, I mean, it's not been ideal, has it? They'll be reviewing it, but I agree with you that there's been numerous times where they should have just been let go, and there's not been much.
From a punter's point of view, Graeme, it is infuriating. Just say, for argument's sake, if you're a punter and your best bet of the week was Maureen, which could have been, at one stage she was a short price before Paul and Right, but like, you've done all this studying for months. You put a lot of pressure on yourself to find winners, and then it's over like that.
Oh, it's ridiculous, I mean, look, there was a horse that I backed yesterday called Jit Maker in the last, and they all line up in a row, and then it's like bumper cars when they all go off, isn't it? It's like they all have to line up and stand still, and then like some of them get a flyer, and some of them, and like if you end up at the back in a race like that, it's game over, isn't it? Jit Maker has to make loads of ground around the outside, end up running his race too. So for me, the issue with it, DJ, is actually these standing starts, like. Why can't we just go back to when they just kept coming in, and then, OK, full start, but at least we'll go back, then we'll run in again. Well, this stupid rule that someone's come up with, some idiot, has said, right, after a couple of coming ins, we're going to have them all stand in a line, and then we're going to lift the tape, and everyone's going to go, away we go. And it's like bang, bang, they're all bumping into each other, everything's carnage. About 5 of them get a flyer and they're off in front. It's complete nonsense. I mean, please get rid of this stupid, ridiculous rule.
But the problem is, though,
Passionate, please.
I love his
This is
passion
the
for that.
Can we have more of this, G-Rod? Can we have more?
The statement frustration is coming out right now. It's taken him 3 days.
What were you going to say, Darren?
I was just going to say the problem with that is when when the starters letting them go, beforehand when a lot of people were cantering and going far, like they were getting let off 50 yards before, they were galloping full tilt down through the things. That's not ideal, because horses are getting well ahead of steam before they get down to the first race, and that is what is trying to slow them down before they get to the first to have that.
It's never going to be ideal.
It's never. I totally agree.
It's not steepled out.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. By the way, it's nice to see you looking smart and dressing for the occasion. I think we definitely weren't best turned out on this couch this morning.
The final word on the starter. He's the voice of reason. He's the man you go to for reassurance. He always talks sense. You've the final word, Tom Nugent. On the I built you up now, right? You always seem to just say the right things at the right times. You've the final say on the starter.
I think you and Daryl used the word that's probably at the core of the issue: pressure. Everyone is under pressure. The jockeys are under pressure. The starters are under pressure. The crowd are building the pressure. So there's a lot of things going on. I think the starts being on such a sharp turn and a lot of the races aren't a help. I think the standing starts, as Graeme mentioned, are also a factor as well. But it's just a blend of common sense. I think it just seems to be, how many Cheltenham Festivals have we had? Even in recent times, you can't remember the starts being as bad as they've been this year. So there's something maybe awry, but it's just a bit of common sense. You could look at changing the rules, but I think it's just everyone, senior riders probably need to come together with the starters and just have a very frank conversation about what's going on. It's up to them to decide how to solve the issue. We're only chatting on the sidelines.
And speaking of starts, that start, like all week, has just taken too long, because we need to get on to the show to find out what's going to happen on Gold Cup Day at Cheltenham. Here's what's coming up. Triumph Talk. The talking stops here. Is it Lulamba? Is it India Doc? You're going to find out in a few minutes' time. We're going to be finding out if Gallopin' the Shams can do that Gold Cup hat-trick and emulate Best Mate and Argyll. And we're going to have the all-important charity bets, which have been going ridiculously well. So Paddy Barr well out of pocket for a great cause for our charity, because Caldwell Potter won yesterday. Final mention, I promise. Of course, Jimmy Desoy won for Paul Keeley at 16 to 1 on Wednesday, and Haiti Clers did the business on Tuesday. So the charity bets have been going well. And I know everybody is asking, where is Johnny Deneen? Johnny gets tired. He had a rigorous preview night schedule. He can't last the pace until Friday, so he's on his way back to Cork. But he will be back for all 3 days of Good Morning Aintree. Of course he will. It couldn't be held without him. So let's kick on with our 120 preview. It is the JCB Triumph Hurdle, and East India Doc is your 7-4 favourite. Lulamba is 2-1. Hello Neighbour 6-1. Plenty of support for Blue Lemons. There you go, 9-1 Blue Lemons, the big mover in the market. Lady Vague Allen is 14-1. Mondo Man is 16-1, and it's 20-1. Gibbs Island 25-1 Bar. Now, Martin, we totally disagree on this race, which really scares me. You make the case for your fancy first.
Yeah, look, East India Doc's my main anti-purse position. Well, to be honest, he's the only horse that I backed anti-purse. He was the first horse I backed anti-purse for the festival.
How early?
Just before he won the last time. So not at the fancy prices some people have got. I think I backed him at 11-2. So he's been my main position, and I haven't really changed in that it's going to take an exceptional juvenile to beat him, because his performances on the clock and on the figures have been up to standard for winning a Triumph Hurdle. It's as simple as that. That's a fact. He's proven, obviously, at the track. He's got that experience, and he's got the hardened flat experience as well. So if you're back in East India Dock, you're assured that you're going to get a big run for your money. I'm sure of that. You know, if he replicates his last two performances, he'll either win or he'll be beaten via an exceptional juvenile.
Does that make 7-4 a good price?
I think he's about the right price now, if I'm being honest, because I do have a lot of respect for Lulamba. It's not just potential with Lulamba. You know, he did put up a good performance at Ascot, and I was wary of him. I actually backed Mondo Man at Ascot on his hurdles debut, thinking he's getting a lot of weight. He was a very good flat horse. If he really takes to it, maybe it's all hype with Lulamba. So I don't want to be caught by that twice. But I've backed him anti-post. I'm not going to be going in again at 7-4. But as I say, it will. Lulamba is going to have to be as good as the Chat if he's going to beat him.
Is he as good as the Chat, Daryl?
Lulamba, I think, is a very, very good horse. He is potentially like a Sergino coming through. I think long term, I think Lulamba is very, very good. I still thought he was very good what he'd done at Ascot. And I was there at Ascot that day, and I generally believe, I think he was only about 85% fit. So I know there's a lot going to come from there. He still looked like as if he had a bit of condition. And even the way he jumped his hurdles, some of his hurdles he was still getting plenty high enough. So I think, you know, the Seven Boroughs, they will try and lower his jumping as well. So he's got so much potential there. But East India Dock, what he's done so far, he's got the experience. And East India Dock, even though it was soft ground when he won at Cheltenham the last time, you watch the way he moves. He literally throws his legs. He's a very straight action type of horse. So to me, he's won well on the soft ground. I think he'll be better on the better ground. So the ground's absolutely no worry for him today. And you look in the way he hurdles. He is that far over the top bar, but very, very confident in his ability jumping wise. So I think East India Dock for me today is the play. But it wouldn't surprise me if we were here this time next year and Lulamba was the better horse.
The other thing with East India Dock is he's actually battle hardened, didn't he? You know, Lulamba's done everything very easily. He's only had 2 starts. Is he going to be able to do that to East India Dock? Probably not. So we're going to have to see a bit of a different side to him to what we've seen already in his 2 starts, because he's going to have to come off the bridle, I would imagine, unless he's really good. But he's going to have to come off the bridle and actually find, that's East India Dock's strong point. You know, if you're cruising up with Lulamba between the last 2 flights, don't be counting your money, because East India Dock sticks his head down and gallops hard.
Graeme Rodway, I was scared before we started the show. Now I'm absolutely petrified, because I'm a massive Lulamba fan, and I don't think there was any performance this season from any horse I was more impressed with than Lulamba at Ascot. And I just said that day, this is maybe not quite Sergino, but not far off it. I think he'll win. They don't.
No, I don't think he's going to win, but it wouldn't surprise me if he won, of course, DJ, because Nicky Henderson seems to think
you're covering a lot of angles down there.
Well, Nicky Henderson seems to think that he's a superstar, and he's had a few Triumph Hurdle winners, hasn't he? I think.
Well, the exact quote was on our Racing Post Cheltenham preview show was, he's not as good as Sergino, but he's as good as any of my previous Triumph Hurdle winners, and he's won it 7 times.
Yes.
I would say not many of them came up against a horse as good as East India Dock.
All right, Martin, we know you fancy him, okay? Will you calm down?
I tell you, we are rocking and rolling. Come on, boy, come on.
The issue, DJ, obviously, that if you're backing Lulamba here, is that you've got a horse in East India Dock, as Martin has already made a pretty strong case, and I'm going to argue the same, is that you've got a horse here who is of Triumph Hurdle winning quality already. So you know that you can do it around the track. You know, he's miles ahead on RPRs, his time figures, he's miles ahead, and all of that form is at Cheltenham on the new course last time. So we know that he's going to turn up today and he is going to run to a very high level. Lulamba's going to have to beat an absolute star to beat him. He might be, but as a punter, I don't bet on potential. From what I hear from Nicky Henderson and things, when I've got a horse there that's £11 clear on Racing Post rankings and got all the form at the course, and there's no doubts about him running to a very high level, I'll back that horse because I know he's going to run to that level, and if he runs to that level, it's going to take an outstanding performance to beat him.
Tom?
I'm committed already, and the confidence from my colleagues here gives me weak in the knee moments. But I've already backed Hello Neighbour, and I think he's got more to give than what we saw in Leopardstown only winning by a short head or whatever it was on the day. I think if he has something to run at, say the likes of Lulamba and East India Doc do go like the Clappers kind of 3 out, and he's kind of trailing them in. I think he'll run a lot better with something to run at. I don't think the form is as bad as maybe some people said. Okay, Galileo Dame didn't run the race that everyone thought she would in the Fred Winter, but I'm a big fan of Lady Vega Allen as well. Obviously, back in Alien, back in 6 as a graded winner now for Declan Queally. I just think Hello Neighbour, I'm going to stick with him. I think he'll probably be easier to back come post time as well. 6-1 now with Paddy Power, 7-1 in a place. He could be 8 or maybe even 10-1 closer to the time when the top 2 harden up. So I'm going to stick with Hello Neighbour. I think he'll be an each way bet to nothing come post time.
Okay, that was your Triumph Hurdle preview. Anything else you want to add, Martin? No, are you?
No, I think we're done.
Quite done, yeah?
I think we're done.
Okay, that was your Triumph Hurdle preview. Best of luck, boys, with East India Doc. Graeme is with East India Doc as well, and Tom is with Hello Neighbour. Of course, I'm staying loyal to Lulamba. Would you like a free bet in the Triumph Hurdle? Here's how to get one.
Do you want over £2,000 in Cheltenham free bets? Visit racingpost.com/free bets, the ultimate hub for betting offers. Racing Post. Stay ahead of the field.
So there are almost 5,000 of you watching the show right now, so don't forget to like if you do like the show and like the cases that we made for East India Doc. The County Hurdle is next up. We don't have a full field here. We've only got 16 runners. But what we have is a corking County Hurdle with so many horses that could be absolutely chucked in. And at the moment, Cargeesy, Cargaze, Cargeesy, whatever you have in yourself, is 130, 7-2 Lark in the morning. Absurd is a big mover this morning into 4-1 Absurd. Then your McLaury. Valgrand is 9-1 and it is 10-1 Hansard. We'll go to this couch first. Graeme Rodway, this is a proper County Hurdle with so many unexposed horses.
Yeah, it's a cracking race, isn't it? Yeah, and of course we all know that Willie's got an incredible hand, hasn't he? We've got last year's winner back. We've got Cargeesy, or I was calling him Cargeese, but you're calling him Cargeesy.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how that's going to go through the race? Tends to be a bit free, doesn't it? But you know, this race might suit it, mightn't it? It's going to go a million miles an hour. I actually like horse that's not on the list there.
Well, that wouldn't be like you, G-Rod.
No, it wouldn't be, would it?
No.
Indawi, who's quite a hardened handicapper, isn't he? I think he was second in the Galway Hurdle.
Yeah,
he was third behind Lark in the Morning last year in the juvenile Fred Winter, so he's got the course form. Obviously, if I fancy him, I've got to be with Lark in the Morning as well, but he's short enough, isn't he? Lark in the Morning. For a horse really who's not shown much.
7-2 now.
Not shown much, has he, since he won here last year. Could well, of course, be a big plan, and he might just suddenly switch it on like
I would say it's definitely a big plan.
But 7-2, not for me. I'd much rather back Indawi up at double figures.
Indawi. This is the race where you're at the races all week and you meet people. You say, do you fancy that? And everybody fancies a horse in this race, but they're all different horses. So it is remarkable how many, you see the top 4 or 5 in the list there, who in any normal year would win a normal county hurdle. But this is no normal county hurdle, Tom.
No, it's not, DJ. There's a lot of horses with big chances in there. I'm going to throw one in at a big price, and I'm probably stealing someone else's thunder here a little bit as well. I think Irish Panther at 20-1 rather has a big each way chance here. Obviously switched from Edward O'Grady to the Hearties, last 2 runs twice in handicaps, finishing third, ran well at Leopardstown I thought the last day, and I think still has more to give if he gets the run of the race, and we all know how much luck you need in a county hurdle. If he gets that bit of luck, he'd be bang there. I think he's still well handicapped, so Irish Panther each way for me. And Lark in the Morning might not have shown much on his last 2 runs, but
choose your words carefully now.
You know, I think there's more to come from Lark in the Morning.
Oh, okay, that's what you're going with. Okay, very good. There we go. That is Irish Panther, and do you know what that is? That is karma for Martin Dixon going way overboard about East India Doc because he has stolen your thunder.
I'm pleased that someone else fancies him at 20-1 as well. To be fair,
that's only Tom. For God's sake. I wouldn't get too excited.
Hey, remember what happened with Graeme on Tuesday?
Yeah, I do.
When we did the Monday show, I was Cargisi in the Lucky 15, but the price has completely gone through the floor. So I am pretty positive about her chance. But at 130,
I think she is going to get shorter.
Yeah.
I think she could go off about 2s.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I do think she's got a big chance because her juvenile form, if you compare that to Lark in the Morning, they're actually not running off dissimilar ratings. I know she was getting the fillies allowance last year, but she was one of the best juveniles around. Lark in the Morning wasn't, so I would be very strong on her chance, but she is favourite now. An Irish Panther at a much bigger price is the one that I've backed on the day. Go back to his early runs, something Tom didn't mention, but if you go back to his first 2 starts in bumpers, second to Factifile, third to Ballyburn, he does have a lot of ability, this horse. Now, he's not managed to win yet, but the last twice since he's been with a Hearty Yard, he has run a lot better. They seem to have settled him more, learned how to ride him. I think he does need dropping out, and he's going to need a little bit of luck, but he's got no weight on his back. He's a big price. He was the one that I thought was overpriced on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. A really strong traveller. Remember in bumpers, Derek O'Connor, he'd be absolutely tanking and just wouldn't find, but he is finishing his races better, Irish Panther. So a shout out from both Tom and Martin for Irish Panther at 20-1. What do you like in the county, Daryl?
Well, look, I can't get away. Grade 1 form running a handicap Cargeese for me. Disappointed for me last run, but I'm going to wipe that one away. There's something was to miss there. First time handicap for Cargeese. But I'm going to throw in another one. Gary Moore's horse, number 6, Hansard. This used to be really, really keen and was never really finishing out his races that well. Settles much better this year, gets dropped out, and I promise you now, someday this horse will land on a big, big pot, because the race is going to be run to suit, man. It could quite well be today. First time cheek pieces. I'm going to give this... I was looking at him there. He was 10-1. And
well backed in the last 24 hours.
Has he? Really?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, 10-1, I thought was a bit skinny for him. I thought he'd be a much bigger price than this. But mark my word, he will land on a big pot someday. But he might just cost you an awful lot of money before you get there.
One of the reasons why
You've done 7, you've got a while.
One of the reasons why Hansard is so short is because Mr. Paul Keeley, who has been on the couch with us most of the week, he's having a corking week. It is one of his 2 tips in this race. He is mad.
Has he tipped it up?
And Absurd and Hansard. Absurd is actually his nap of the week, but speaking to him and sitting beside him in the press room yesterday, he was very much coming around to Hansard. So that could be one of the reasons why Hansard has been so well backed.
Good men think alike, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Intelligence up here.
That 10's take it now.
Up there for thinking, down there for dancing.
The price will plummet. Look, I have to give a shout out to Valgrand. A month ago I thought he would win this race. Now going through this, I'm kind of going, he's 134. Is he 150 horse? No. Is he 140 horse? Definitely. But I don't think £6 is enough to be well in this race. So I'm going a bit lukewarm, but I do think he's going to run a cracker Valgrand. As you can see, the selections on the screen. In Dowie for Graeme Rodway. Daryl is with Cargeese, who I think is the most likely winner. And Martin and Tom Nugent are with Irish Panther at 20-1. And that is your very intriguing county hurdle. Next up, it's at 2:40. It's the Mrs. Paddy Power Mare's Chase, and Dino Blue. Is she finally going to do it at the festival? She is 5-2. Brides Hill, big mover into 7-2, is going to love this good ground. Brides Hill, one of the best workhorses Gavin Cromwell has. Allegory Devassi, she's back again for another crack at this race, and she's 7-2. Limerick Lace, last year's winner, is 7-1, and it is 12-1 bar. Is this D-Day for Dino Blue, Martin?
It's a great chance for her, isn't it? I'd say it's a much weaker race than it was last year, given that Limerick Lace comes into it with plenty to prove this time around. Allegory Devassi's had a couple of goes at it. She obviously goes out to her right. It's probably not her ideal track. I can see why they're having another go. But
is there too much between Dino Blue and Allegory Devassi in the betting, though? Considering how close they were at Naas, no?
I don't think so, because I think Dino Blue's much more effective around here. And the ground will be more in her favour than it was last year, because it was very testing 12 months ago. She only just missed out on getting to Limerick Lace, but she's a speed mare, as we know. She's very effective around 2 miles, but she's ran well enough to think she's effective and stays the 2.5. But I think on better ground this year, her pace will have more of an influence on it. She's going to be very, very hard to beat, I think. I don't think there's much in the race. Brides Hill was the one that I think is probably the most dangerous. She telepathic got away off the front end at Huntingdon last time out. She wasn't as disappointing as you might think, given the price she was sent off, but she's probably dangerous, but I think Dino Blue is a better mare.
Yeah, a lot of shrewd judges fancying Dino Blue. Of course, it's Johnny Deneen's bet of the week. Daryl, Dino Blue?
Yeah, I can't really say much more on that. The pro here beside me, he summed it all up. We'll just go all in on Dino Blue this year, and she'll get there.
He's good, isn't he?
He's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
well, you're after his job, so there's a bit of conflict on the couch here, so there is.
Listen, we got to stick together. The best dressed. We got to stick together this morning.
Do you know what? One thing, Martin, there's nothing worse than these ex-jockeys coming in and thinking they know it all and becoming pundits, is there?
I know nothing. And I'm quite happy admitting I know nothing.
And then plagiarising. Dino Blue, now you like to look beyond the obvious. We know that. Beyond the very obvious. Sometimes it's staring you in the face and you can find something else. What have you got?
Obviously she's the most likely. I'm not convinced I'd want to back her at 5-4, really. Obviously she was turned over in the race, wasn't she, last year? And
it's free money, though.
If it wins. I would stick with Limerick Lace again. I know that she probably wants softer ground in an ideal world, and maybe they've got the Grand National in the back of their mind, which obviously she ran in last year. However, I don't think she'll be miles away from a peak, and if she does get through this ground okay, we know that she's good enough to beat the favourite around here. So at a much bigger price, it would be not Dino Blue. What's it called?
And you're going so well.
Limerick Lace.
Limerick Lace.
It was rolling off the tongue until you got to the actual name of the
doing
horse.
well.
Convincing, wasn't he? Very convincing there.
Doing quite well. It's not one of my favourite races, this, you know.
Yeah. Limerick Lace, Limerick Lace for Graeme Rodway to go back to back. And Tom, you have the final say on the Mrs. Paddy Power Mare's Chase.
Yeah, Dino Blue for all the reasons mentioned, DJ. If you force me to have a bet in the race, I don't know would I get she's getting short now at 5-4. Maybe without, I think she could be anything. Could be interesting. I'm back on better ground, so I thought if you're having a bet without the favourite, she could be anything. Could be interesting.
Yeah, what you want if you're playing at shortish prices is negatives on others, isn't it? In the front end of the market, you know. Whereas a county hurdle, for example, I'd be pretty positive about all of the horses at the front end, which makes you lean towards having a pop at something at a big price each way. This race, I think Bride's Hill's just inferior. Allegory Devassi's definitely not as good at Cheltenham, and Limerick Lace is definitely a better mare on softer ground because she's a stayer. So I don't think she's got much to beat.
Okay, there we go. You're very positive in your selections today, aren't you? Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, this is a Martin Dixon I'm liking. That is the Mrs. Paddy Power Mare's Chase. And now it's time for the Albert Bartlett. The schedule has changed around for Gold Cup Day this year. The Albert Bartlett precedes the Gold Cup, and at the moment the big Westerner is 9-2. JetBlue is the big mover into 11-2 for France. Derry Hassan Paddy 7-1. Holy God, Derry Hassan Paddy 7-1. Argento by 15-2. This market is mental. It was completely different yesterday when I looked at it. Jasmine de Beau is 15-2. 8-1 Wingmen. Wendigo is 9-1, and it is 12-1 Ballybow. Time for my passionate plea of the day. I'm really keen on Wingmen here for Gordon Elliott. It hasn't been a good week for Gordon. He's been hitting the crossbar. A lot of his horses have ran really well. When you look at the Yellow Clay, who ran really well, he the second and third in the Brown Advisory. I don't think they're running desperately at all. I think some of them are actually running really well. Tihupa, of course, is second to Stairs Hurdle. But Wingmen, to me, is the ideal type for this race. He's battle-hardened against proper Grade 1 horses like the Yellow Clay and like Final Demand. He's learned how to settle, and he's a relentless galloper. Now that he's settling, they're going to let him roll. And I think that class that Wingmen has got is going to get a lot of these into trouble. And if he rolls from the home turn, I think he's going to take some catching. I'm with Wingmen in the Albert Bartlett. Tom Nugent.
You have stolen my thunder this time because I'm with Wingman as well. I've been trying to convince myself that Jasmine de Beau has a chance here, but I just can't bring myself to commit to him. So Wingman was the next on the list. I was trying to convince myself that Sounds Victorious could shock them all as well, but I just don't think he jumps well enough. So I've stuck with Wingman.
Of course, Sounds Victorious is the founding member of the fan club is Johnny Deneen for Sounds Victorious, who's still keeping the faith, by the way. He still gives Sounds Victorious a big chance. Graeme Rodway, wide open Albert Bartlett.
Wide open, yeah. I like Jasmine de Beau actually, so I'll try and convince Tom.
Do.
Okay, you have a minute.
Yeah.
Starts now.
So don't
look at me.
Don't actually watch any of his hurdle races. You know, like when you watch the replay.
Here we go.
Put a blindfold on.
Just don't watch them.
Don't watch him jump because he's a terrible jumper, isn't he?
But there is hurdles in this race.
Yeah, but just forget about that for a minute.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm with you. Okay.
Just go back and watch him win the bumper last year and watch him storm up the hill like a real dour stayer and outstay Romeo Coolio, wasn't it? And on that form, he's got a really good chance, hasn't he? Just forget that the hurdles are there And possibly,
Yeah,
right?
but I think he forgets that the hurdles are there. That's the problem.
Yeah, but maybe they'll go a little bit slower this time, and he might have a little bit more time. The other thing is, right, is Willie Mullins he's had loads of horses this week, hasn't he? Right, who we thought were going to jump well, and then he's putting a stinking round of jumping, hasn't he? Like Madborough, obviously.
Where are you going with this theory?
Right. Well, this is going to be the opposite. So you got a horse that everyone thinks can't jump, right? This horse could suddenly, out of nowhere, jump perfectly well. And if he jumps perfectly well, there's only one winner. Did that work, Tom?
I don't know.
Tom's more confused now. He's more confused now than he was 2 minutes ago.
Just for viewers who might be a little bit confused, Graeme's theory is that because there are horses from the Willie Mullins stable who we thought would jump really well but didn't, that we think Jasmine DeVoe is not going to jump really well, so we will. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the key facts is if you do fancy him, is the fact that there's only 2 hurdles for the last 6 furlongs.
Three hurdles in the last. 3 hurdles in the last about 7 furlongs, 7.5 furlongs.
So they don't do a lot of jumping in the
later stage of the race.
I thought we had to forget that they were there, though.
Yeah.
He might be able to run around them. I mean, no one is going to know, could he? He's just sleep in the inside, whip around them.
There is some sense in the idea that he might pop away before the race actually develops in earnest, and then at the point where it does the last mile of the race, there's not much jumping, and he might get galloping.
Is G-Rod right? Can he win?
He can win. He can win. I've put up Sounds Victorious each way at a bigger price just because he's very much a staying horse, isn't he? You want him to go a good gallop, and he just gallops. I'd probably prefer softer ground, but he's a big price. It's not a race I've got a massively strong opinion on, but I thought he was a big price.
Okay, Johnny Deneen will be delighted. That Sounds Victorious for Martin Dixon. And Daryl, the final say on the Albert Bartlett.
There's no can. He will win. And I'll tell you why Jasmine DeVoe will win.
Oh.
He's learned to be a good jumper jumping bad, if that makes sense. So he's actually learned to adapt to jumping. He's a moderate jumper, but he's actually learned to adapt himself to be a good jumper. So, like, you got your flamboyant horses that go out and jump, and they jump really well.
Okay.
He misses hurdles, but if you look at him, he's actually getting quicker. He gets underneath him, but he's actually getting an awful lot quicker, getting underneath the hurdles, getting from A to B quicker, without being exuberant.
So he's getting good at being bad.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's what I tried to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's getting clever. Yeah. And like you said, there is only 3 hurdles in the last 7.5 furlongs in the race. He's a class horse, won the champion bumper here last year. He had cheek pieces on him the last day at Leopardstown. And at Leopardstown, he only made one mistake at the whole round of jumping. He only made one mistake. He was probably a little bit keen. At some point, JJ dropped him in. Paul Townend obviously rides him today. He's been doing an awful lot of schooling at home as well. And I promise you now, he's getting an awful lot sharper now. This horse really, really does come into the play today. I think he's a massive price.
Will he stay?
100%. Did you see the way he came up the hill at Cheltenham last year? No problem at all.
2 miles.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, doesn't matter. They go slightly slower pace. Okay. It suits him. 3 miles suits this, and just the way the race is going to be run, the race will be developed. Paul Townend, he'll probably, I would imagine, would ride in mid-division, a little bit of light, and just plot his way around it, and he'll come with a wet sail going down to the last. Pop the last. Pop.
Good at being bad, yeah.
Yeah. And away he goes.
Wow.
Good luck, Irene.
You think 15-2 is a good price, yeah?
I generally do. I think he's one of the class horses in the race, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Your mind must be blown after the Albert Bartlett because we've got theories all over the shop. Jasmine DeVoe it is for Graeme Rodway and for Daryl Jacob. Martin is with Sounds Victorious at 22-2 with Paddy Power. And myself and Tom are with Wingmen in the Albert Bartlett. That is the 320, folks. And have you been playing Paddy Power's Eliminator this week? Well, folks, there has been loads of winners left, right and centre for free, for nothing. You can enter and win a fortune. Let's have a look.
Introducing Eliminator, Paddy Power's new free-to-play game. Select your horses and survive 6 exhilarating rounds to win up to £250,000. That can't be right. £250,000? Play Eliminator free every day this Cheltenham Festival. Only on Paddy Power.
The Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's 4 o'clock and Gallop in the Champs is 4-7. Banbridge on the drift out to 6-1 Banbridge. The money has come for the supplementary entry. I know the way you're thinking. Then it's 8-1 Monty Star, 16-1 Corbett's Cross, the Real Whackers 33-1, 66-1 a High Senior, and Gentleman's Game is 80-1. Right, Daryl Jacob. How many Gold Cups do you think you rode in over the years?
Finished third in Bristol in May 1 year. I probably, do you know, a Gold Cup's not a race that I rode many times. I reckon 4.
So the year you were third, was it Album Photo on it?
God,
Sorry,
you know what?
sorry, I didn't mean to ask a hard question.
I can't remember what year. I can't remember what one of that year. I was too far behind.
Okay. So tell me this, right?
Native River, maybe?
Could have been
Native River, actually. Yeah.
and Might
Actually, you're right. Native River might bite.
Yeah, okay. One
I'm
of the great
I'm
Gold
going to get
Cups.
stung for this
Can't
now.
even remember one of the greatest
No.
Gold Cups we've ever seen. But tell me about the heat of it and the intensity. It's just different. For viewers watching, it's a different feel. There's nerves. It must be glorious to be a part of it, is it?
Oh, it's a brilliant occasion. It's a brilliant race. You just see, you know, the crowds. They are literally 10 deep, walking around the parade ring. The music, the excitement, the hype. You know, this and the Grand National are the 2 races that you want to be involved in every year, and it's just magic. Even when you're walking down to the start, like down to shoot down onto the track before you do the parade ring, you're cantering down. The excitement, the roaring, the crowd is absolutely buzzing. It's so loud. It's, you know, when you have the supreme roar, it's like the crowd is just constant the whole way through the build up to this race. And then whenever they let them off, it's only literally, you know, from the winning post, you know, you jump the second last, you start down there, that start, and you can hear all the crowd and the buzz all around you. It's a unique race.
And Daryl is getting the atmosphere going today. And if I was to give you one piece of advice today, it is to pick up the Racing Post and read pages 2 and 3. Ireland editor Richard Forrestal perfectly sets the tone for today's Gold Cup. It is the best piece you will read in the Racing Post this week, pages 2 and 3. And he just tees it up perfectly for this shot at history, for the return of the King galloping the Champs. It is a massive occasion. We're staring at history here. To win 3 Gold Cups, it obviously happened best mate. Could it happen twice in our lifetime, Daryl?
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, he's the best horse in the race in England and Ireland at the moment, and I've been really, really impressed with his profile the whole way up. And you see what Fact the File did yesterday. You just look at William Mullins, an absolute master, and you know, he's targeted this race from when he won it last year. He's targeted this race. I'd expected a better performance even again today than what we've seen at Leopardstown. And Leopardstown, to be at Leopardstown that day whenever he won,
magic.
It was just, I've never heard like the singing of the crowd. You know, even when he jumped third last out the far side, Paul Townend even heard. He said he could feel the roar of the crowd there. So, you know, I'm hoping, I'm praying that everything goes right. Obviously, we've seen Constitution Hill, John Bond. We have seen a few, what everyone thought were shorties and naps this week get turned over. But I'm really, this is the big race that we need for everything to go smoothly and for Galloping the Champ to gallop into the history books.
It's been that sort of week, Martin, where usually we go, yeah, sure, it's really simple. He's just going to win. He's the best horse. But mental things have happened this week, and it kind of goes, gives you this kind of horrible feeling in your stomach that something might go wrong, maybe.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a big ride for Paul Townend, isn't it? All of a sudden, it's easy to look back at recent years and Mullins, Townend, yeah, win again, tick it off the list. But this year, it's not quite gone like that for him. It's been a tough week at times. He had the 2 winners on the first day, and everything was going swimmingly for him. But State Man obviously happened, and Ballyburn was very disappointing. He's not had a winner. Mullins has, but he's not had a winner since day one. So there's a bit of pressure on that as well.
Friday's usually his playground, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and he'll deal with the pressure. He's been there and obviously done it many a times before. But it's very big for him, I think, this week. The way that the week's gone for him. I really hope he wins. I mean, I know the way you're thinking is a danger, I think, now that he's in the race. He's a very strong stayer. His jumping's not as good as Galopin, but he'll be there charging late. And if you want to have an each way bet in the race, I mean, you'll be making a small profit on him at 6-1, but he'll be in the 3. I expect Galopin to win. I really hope he does, because I grew up, I remember taking a day off school pretending I was ill when Best Mate won his 3rd Gold Cup. And it got me hooked. I just wanted him to win. As a racing fan, a young lad getting into it and watching it on the TV, I just wanted him to win because I loved him.
So you were in school when Best Mate won his 3rd Gold Cup?
Yeah, were you not?
Are you younger than you look?
Yeah. Yeah. I need to lose a bit of weight, get to the gym.
Jesus, don't talk about weight, please. Yeah, it would be remarkable, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. So I hope he does.
Okay, is it going to happen, Tom? And is there a betting angle in this race?
Well, I think 4-7 and 6-1 bar tells you all you really need to know from a betting perspective. It's the market is speaking very clearly for the favourite. I don't think there is a betting angle, to be honest with you. I think Martin is right. I know the way you're thinking is the danger, but I think it's a race to savour. Like historically, very important race for the sport, and Galloping des Champs could be the defining horse for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend, which is hard to believe because they've had so much success throughout both their careers, but this could be a special day to be at the races.
So it all sounds so simple, you know, history is just going to happen because he's the best horse in the race. But one man who could take the wind out of our sails is Graeme Rodway.
No, I think that the market's got it bang on. I mean, I took a lot of stick on social media, not for the first time, DJ, last week, but even suggesting that Banbridge might be a serious danger to Galloping des Champs. And he could even beat him. Just for that suggestion, was met with...
They can be harsh, can't they?
With disdain. I think that the public have really taken to Galloping des Champs into their heart, haven't they? Certainly after his last win at Leopardstown. On this ground, I do think Banbridge has got a chance of beating him. Do I think that he is going to beat him? Probably not. It's a bit different with I know the way you're thinking running in the race, because when I did that piece last week, he wasn't there. And I think that he's got a really good chance as well of shaking him up. But I actually think he's going to do it, DJ. I think that Galloping des Champs is going to do it.
Okay, there we go. Galloping des Champs for Graeme as well. And because it's the Gold Cup, we have to do our 1, 2, 3s. So, Tom Nugent, your 1, 2, 3 in the 2025 Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup is...
Galloping des Champs, I know the way you're thinking, Banbridge.
Graeme?
I think Galloping des Champs, I know the way you're thinking, Banbridge.
I'm going to go Galloping des Champs. I'll be a bit different. I'll go Corbett's Cross 2, and I know the way you're thinking 3. I think JP can mop up the places. Martin?
Galloping des Champs. I know the way you're thinking, Monty's Star.
And Daryl?
Galloping des Champs, Monty Star, and I think Corbett's Cross at his price. I think he comes right into it. He's been trained for the race from this day last year, or from Cheltenham Festival last year. Corbett's Cross.
Okay, and I see on the graphic there on the screen it does say Corbett's Cross for me, but that's each way. I actually do think Galloping des Champs is going to make history, and I really hope he does. Enjoy the Gold Cup. Whatever you're doing, set your alarm for 4 o'clock. And if you're not at Cheltenham, make sure you're watching Cheltenham, because this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime occasion. That is your Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup, the penultimate race, the 27th race of the Cheltenham Festival. It is the St James's Place Hunter's Chase and Angel's Dawn, your 3-1 market leader. It's on the line. Second last year is 7-2 to go one better. Will it go ahead running in the new colours of Noel and Valerie Moore? Inspective stud running for Gordon Elliott, but Jamie Scallon, who knows his horse so well, keeps it right. He's 11-2. Shearer is 8-1. Fairly Famous is 9-1, along with Roy Hill for Ross O'Sullivan, and it's 11-1 bar. Daryl, we'll kick off with you. Any strong opinion in the Hunter's Chase?
No, not really, if I'm being totally honest with you, DJ. I mean, obviously Gordon Elliott still hasn't had a winner this week, but hopefully, please God, it'll come today. And I mean, you're clutching at straws if you go to this, but he's obviously the owners, Be Active Stud, have paid a lot of money for this number 22. Will it go ahead? Big day for Jamie Scallon, really, in the saddle, and it'd be nice if that could go.
And this horse is a glorious jumper, Martin Dixon. If anybody gets a chance, just go onto the Racing Post website, watch his replay of his win at Thurles, because he was making lengths at his fences. He's electric, isn't he?
Yeah, it gives him a chance, doesn't it? It definitely gives him a chance, and you know, Gordon obviously he could do with a winner this week. I've gone with All Mankind at a big price. Class horse, isn't he? And he's won a couple of points. Whether he truly stays, we'll find out today, but he comes into it on the back of a couple of point-to-point wins, which have been impressive.
I was going to say, for people that haven't seen them, can you tell us how recent history has gone for All Mankind?
Well, he had a long time off, and then he's gone to the point-to-points and just refreshed himself, basically.
Is he still free going?
Yeah, well, he's settled down a bit. And compared to what he's not the tearaway that he was in his younger days, and he's won his point-to-points really impressively. And yeah, I think James Owen has him in a good place. I'd imagine that they'll try and take their time a little bit with him, and conserve his stamina, because otherwise he wouldn't get home if he was ridden in a really aggressive manner. But I think he's got an each-way chance on his ability.
Do you think James Owen will have had a winner by then?
Yes.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that. It's a joke.
If the winning post was at the bottom of the hill, I think all Mankind might win the race, or All Mankind. James done a preview with him, and he was worried about the stamina. But he said if it was there at the home straight where the second last is, he's sure to win.
Yeah, it is.
He has got him in really good form. He said he's in the form of his life at the moment.
Excellent. That's All Mankind for Martin. G-Rod?
I think it's on the line. We'll do it. DG was beaten, wasn't he, last year behind Scene Nominee, but he went on to win the Aintree Fox Hunters. And with these Fox Hunters or Hunters or whatever we call them nowadays, I just think a lot of them are trained for these big spring targets, aren't they? This one, the one coming up at Aintree. I don't think they'd have had him anywhere near cherry ripe for any of his runs this year, because especially the fact that those two races are going to come up very quickly this year, aren't they? So, you know, he will have been trained to be right for these, and I think he'll go very, very close here.
Okay, there we go. It's on the line. It's a good point, actually, with it's on the line. He's probably, you know, the three meetings, the Cheltenhams, Aintree, Punchestown, which he almost did the treble last year. I'm sure everything has been geared towards that for It's on the Line this year. Are you It's on the Line fan, Tom?
No, I think Roy Hill has a big chance here each way for Ross O'Sullivan, a very good winner in Naas the last time. He was second in a drum of hand point to point behind Angel's Dawn. She'd had a run and he hadn't, and he improved to go on and win at Naas and actually blitzed a very good field. Now he's his own way of jumping. Made a horrific mistake 3 out in Naas, and Lee Shanahan did very well to keep the partnership intact. Lee is a very good young chap, tall guy, really, really tall, but works hard at his weight and has a big opportunity here today. I think Roy Hill has a really good chance each way.
Excellent. Roy Hill for Tom. And I'm with Shearer. I think Shearer is the guaranteed stayer, and if Olive can keep him in contention, I think Shearer is going to be finishing as well as anything. And I think in this race they go quick, and you need something that's got guaranteed stamina. So I am with Shearer in the St James's Place Hunter's Chase. Of course, Graeme is with It's on the Line. It's Will It Go Ahead for Daryl, and Martin is with All Mankind. And Tom gave a good shout out to Roy Hill, of course. Now it's time for the finale. It is the 28th and final race of the 2025 Cheltenham Festival, and it is the Martin Pipe. And there are a lot of plot horses here, including Kopek Demi, big day for Aidan Kelly, 9-4, Woodhoo for Gordon Elliott, and Danny Gilligan, of course, the team who teamed up to win the race last year with Better Days Ahead, 11-2. Tap on the Go is 7-1. No Ordinary Joe is 10-1. Nurse Susan is 10-1, as is East India Express, and it's 14-1 bar. And from No Ordinary Joe to No Ordinary Martin Dixon.
Yeah, I like this horse. He's one of my main fancies of the week in the handicaps. Look, I acknowledge that Kopek Demi could still be anything, but he's priced up accordingly, isn't he? At 9-4, he can win at that price for me. But No Ordinary Joe, I worked at Warwick when he ran there. I thought in the paddock beforehand he wasn't ready, he wasn't fit, and he shaped really well with that in mind. You know, he came up looming up to the last 2 flights of hurdles, looked like he had a chance, flattened out a little bit on the running. I'm sure he'll be fitter. I'm sure he's been targeted at the race, which he was second in 2 years ago behind Aroka. He's a pound lower this time than he was 2 years ago. Last year he ran in it actually, and he ran okay, considering Henderson's horses were obviously not running well at all at the meeting last year. He finished 7th in it last year, so 10-1 each way. He's one of my main bets of the week in the handicap. And
in fairness to the Henderson team, I know John Bond didn't win and Constitution Hill fell, but the 1-2 in the Pertemps obviously won the Arkle. A lot of his horses are running really, really well. Second in the Coral Cup, like they are firing. Yeah, they are. So I think he'll be back to his best today. Whether that's good enough to beat Kopek Demi, I really don't know. But for me, you're getting all sorts of extra places, aren't you? And double figure odds, I think, about him each way is a good bet. So that's one very strong view on this couch. Now, don't let me down, Daryl. We were speaking before the show, okay? And Daryl Jacob I think he had convinced everybody in the room that he had the winner of this race, okay? So I've built you up here. This this could be your future career at stake here. For anybody that's watching on ITV or Racing TV or whoever, Sky Sports. Oh no! This is your moment. You can go out on a high. You could be carried out of Cheltenham here. Take it away.
I could be, couldn't I? I mean, this is disaster written all over it now. You building me up like that.
Sorry about that, Darren.
Caravan, look, he's a
Remind me who you used to ride for.
No, there's no strings attached here.
There's no string. I love this horse, Caravan. He won down at Clonmel. I rode him last year as a 3-year when he come over. and I finished fourth to Romeo Coolio at Leopardstown, and he travelled great that day. And to me, they just kind of sprinted away from. Forget his last run; he was ended up being too keen, and it just didn't really work that way. Just Copac to boards. It was just too keen racing with him. I generally believe stepping up to 2.5 miles this trip. He's got a handicap mark of 135. I'm pretty certain he's a very, very well handicapped horse. Obviously, it's a big field. There's so many unexposed horses in this race. It's going to be very, very difficult. But I do believe that he's a big price, and I'm really hoping that he runs really, really well.
Really good jockey booking as well. Tiernan Power Roach has been the man of the moment in Ireland. He's winning races left, right and centre. I think he had a treble there one day in Ireland as well. He's a real talent, isn't he?
Yeah, he's riding really well. I've been looking up. I've been in the studios working for in Ireland, and every Sunday he seems to be banging out doubles and trebles, and he's riding really well. He's riding with a lot of confidence at the moment, and I'd imagine he'll just ride a nice confident race in this. I'm convinced he wants to step up to 2.5. This is his first run over 2.5 in first time man handicap, and I'm expecting him to go well.
Okay, there we go. I think you're going to lose this battle, this couch, because Martin is very keen. One of his strongest fans of the week is No Ordinary Joe. Daryl has fallen over himself to back Carafon. Tom Nugent, beat that.
No, I won't beat that, DJ. It's not an overly strong opinion, but I thought Tap on the Go was interesting here.
I think you're right.
Back up to 2.5. Knocking on the door for a long time now, but I think he just has more to give. Back up to 2.5. I think this could be an interesting day.
Would it be fair to say maybe that this might have been the plan for a while?
I think, sure. Like, that's your words, not mine, DJ. I just think on the day he's got a big chance.
Graeme Rodway.
I do like Martin's case for No Ordinary Joe. I backed him.
What about Daryl? I thought Daryl was really good, no?
I don't fancy that one. Sorry, Daryl.
Boy, you just got a chance then. I'm delighted. Well done. Lump on.
I backed No Ordinary Joe anti-post for this race last year, and as far as anti-post bets go, they can't go any more wrong than that one did, because after I backed him, Nicky Henderson's string went completely wrong, and the ground went really bad, and I think No Ordinary Joe is a better horse on better ground, which he's going to get. And like you've already pointed out there, Henderson is flying this week, so I think he'll go very close.
He was about the only horse they didn't pull out last year, Graeme, so you'd have got your money back.
That's right. Yeah. I had backed him non-runner no bet and was hoping they did, but they didn't. But I've had a mad one here. Why not? It's been a mad week. Last race of the week could be a mad result.
You are mad.
And I am mad. But it's good to be mad sometimes. It's mad in a good way.
Absolutely, yeah. What have you got for us? What have you cooked up?
Well, there's a Royal Bond winner in this race, isn't there?
There is.
And I think he's 33 to 1.
There is.
And Romeo Coolio was second in the Supreme.
Third?
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Copac the boards won the race.
Right, what was second?
Do you not know who was second?
No.
Have you any idea?
No.
No? Okay. William Money.
Oh, yeah, well done. Yeah,
right, no problem.
Okay, you've jogged my memory.
Yeah.
Anyway, it ran well, didn't it, Romeo Coolio?
Yeah, very well.
And Toons of Vater turned it over in the Royal Bond. Been beaten a couple of times since, but he likes good ground, Toons of Vater. He's a really good horse on lively ground, which he's going to get, I think, right at the end of the day. I mean, hopefully no rain, dry all day. I think he could go really well at a big price to finish the week, Toons of Vater.
Let's see what price he is. He's not even on the screen at the moment. We'll try and get a price for you. Is he your selection?
He is.
He is the selection. Okay, there we go. Toons of Vader. 33 to 1 for Graeme Rodway. I'm very much with tapping the goal. Tom, I'd say you're very scared because we're together in a lot of races here. So we are with wingmen and different horses. So hopefully we have a good day. I'm with tapping the go. Rodders is with Toons of Vader. Daryl is extremely sweet on Carafon, and Martin Dixon's even sweeter on No Ordinary Joe in the Martin Pipe. And all that's left to do now, folks, is reveal those all-important charity bets. So, Tom Nugent, what is the best bet on Gold Cup Day at Cheltenham?
Right hill each way in the race that isn't called the Fox Hunters anymore.
No, the Fox is gone out of the title. Okay, so it is right hill for Tom Nugent in the Hunter's Chase. Graeme Rodway.
I'm with East India Dock in the open of the 120. I think he just wins, I'm afraid, DJ.
Okay, I'm with Lulamba in the 120 Triumph Hurdle. I just think he wins, G-Rod. Martin Dixon.
No Ordinary Joe in the Martin Pipe.
Excellent, best of luck. And Daryl Jacob.
Dina Blue, she's going to fly home.
We'll get a few bob into the kitty with Dino Blue. There you go. Those are our selections on your screen. As you can see, I'm with Lulamba. Graeme Rodway is taking me on with East India Dock. No ordinary Joe for Martin Dixon, but he's absolutely mad on East India Dock. Daryl Jacob is with Dino Blue, and Tom Nugent is with Roy Hill in the Hunter's Chase. So that's it, folks. Listen, we've had a great week on the couch, haven't we? It's been great fun. Have you enjoyed it, Daryl?
That's just been a right bit of crack. Sure, that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what this week is all about. It's about having a bit of crack and seeing some wonderful horses, wonderful jockeys, great rides, and yeah, the Guinness is pouring.
Martin, you've been a part of the furniture with us all week. Thanks a million for coming in. Highlight for you for the whole week?
Well, hopefully East India Dock. Oh no!
There we go. I think you're always looking ahead.
Yeah, to be fair, I've struggled a bit this week so far.
Well, I hope you're going to keep struggling.
Performance-wise, it was Factor 5 yesterday.
Yeah, highlight of the week for you, G-Rod?
Oh, it's been a great week, hasn't it? I really enjoyed it. Probably getting beaten by State Man was the low light of the week. Anyway, getting beaten on State Man was the low light of the week. The highlight of the week was probably Bob Ollinger yesterday from a personal perspective. But what I've really enjoyed the most about this week so far, DJ, is the glorious unpredictability of racing at Cheltenham has returned. None of this, all the favourites winning and Mullins winning every race. We don't know what's going to happen, and that's why we all tune in. So I can't wait for today.
So have you changed your catchphrase then? Mullins misses sometimes?
Mullins does miss this year, doesn't he?
Okay, there we go. And we had no finders keepers today, but we did find Tom Nugent, and we kept him because he is so good. Tom, what was your highlight of the week?
Graeme Rodway. Right up there. But I think it'll probably go down as one of the most memorable champion hurdles of all time for various reasons, and obviously looking forward to galloping today.
Absolutely. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to our production team, to Belle, to Sam and to Dan. Thanks to Daryl, to Martin, to Graeme and to Tom Nugent as well. Thanks for watching Good Morning Cheltenham. We'll be back with you for all 3 days of Aintree. And yes, Johnny Deneen will be back. I've been David Jennings. Thanks for watching Good Morning Cheltenham and enjoy Gold Cup Day.